This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to all of you enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. As we've been reporting here for some time, the auto industry has hit peak auto. Car sales hit their peak around 2017, and they have never recovered. The industry is selling fewer cars than it did back then. That includes North and South America, Europe, Japan, South Korea, and the Chinese domestic market. But there are at least two places in the world where car sales could grow a lot: India and Africa. That's why Hyundai is announcing it's investing $5 billion in India for domestic sales and for exports. It's going to build 27 different models there, including an electric SUV developed entirely in India. Meanwhile, BYD is looking to invest in Africa, but it doesn't plan to make any cars there, at least not yet. Instead, it's planning to build out an EV charging infrastructure with 300 fast chargers going up in South Africa by the end of next year. BYD has been booming for the last 5 years, but this year, sales are coming up short. The company desperately needs to find new markets to kickstart its growth curve, and that's why it's making this move into Africa. You know, it was a decade ago that Sergio Marchionne, CEO of Fiat Chrysler, published a paper calling on GM, Ford, and FCA to combine their powertrain operations. The paper was called Confessions of a Capital Junkie, and Sergio said automakers were wasting billions by manufacturing engines and transmissions that were almost identical and were irrelevant to the majority of car buyers. As one powertrain VP recently said, "How many different 2-liter 4-cylinder engines does the world need?" That's why 2 years ago, Renault spun off its powertrain operations into a separate company called Horse. Geely and Volvo quickly joined Horse, and now it's building powertrains for Renault, Dacia, Volvo Cars, Nissan, Mitsubishi, and Mercedes. Its growth has been spectacular. Reuters reports that Horse is now the third largest engine manufacturer in the world. It made 8 million engines and transmissions last year, raking in 8 billion euros in revenue. That's expected to jump 80% to 15 billion euros by 2030. Renault says it will save 2 billion euros on engine development by 2030 thanks to offloading that development to Horse. And that kind of savings is going to catch the attention of a lot of car companies. By the way, we're going to have an executive from Horse on next week's Autoline After Hours. You're not going to want to miss that one. And be sure to join us later today when we've got Kathy Risk from JD Power coming on the show to talk about all the generative AI going into cars. Do customers really want it? Or is this just another example of automakers loading up their cars with technology that customers could care less about? Join me and Gary and our colleague Perry Stern when we go live at 3 p.m. Eastern Time.
At CSP, we work with OEM engineers across the country on their journeys to lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly vehicles. Learn more at thecsp.com.
Earlier this week, we were reporting on Ram getting into the mid-size pickup segment in the U.S., and we showed you a sales comparison of how all those pickups are doing. What we did not include in that chart was the sale of the two compact pickups in the market, the Ford Maverick and the Hyundai Santa Cruz. Well, here's how they're doing, and it isn't even close. The Maverick is outselling the Santa Cruz 10-1. There's probably two reasons the Maverick's doing so well. First of all, Ford is really good at trucks. Second, the Maverick is more of a work truck, while the Santa Cruz is more of a lifestyle vehicle. And I'd be willing to bet that the next generation of the Santa Cruz is going to be much more of a work truck. There's a battle brewing in Europe over plug-in hybrid vehicles. Automakers are lobbying the EU to allow PHEVs to continue to be sold after 2035 when the EU wants to ban internal combustion engines. But the environmental group Transport and Environment, also known as T&E, wants the EU to reject that. According to a new report from the group, real-world plug-in hybrid emissions are 5 times higher than their official numbers. That's because owners don't charge them very often, which means the vehicles are running on their IC engine most of the time. T&E also studied extended range electrics in China and found they've actually got some advantages over PHEVs. Electric motors in EREVs are more powerful than their engines, which allows them to operate in electric-only mode under heavy acceleration. Most EREVs have DC charging capability thanks to their larger batteries, something that most PHEVs don't have. And EREVs have longer electric-only ranges compared to PHEVs. The Chinese automaker NIO has been lauded for its high-tech cars and its battery-swapping technology, but it may also have been involved in financial shenanigans. NIO is being sued by Singapore's sovereign wealth fund, called GIC, because it claims NIO artificially inflated its revenue. The lawsuit alleges that NIO directed its battery subsidiary to purchase all the batteries that it uses for its swapping network. That allowed NIO to book those batteries as being sold, even though it was sort of selling them to itself. GIC says that revenue should have been recognized gradually, not all at once, and the wealth fund is seeking compensation for its stock market losses and reimbursement for its legal costs. Euro NCAP, the organization that crash tests and rates the safety of vehicles in Europe, just crash tested a new small electric hatchback from the Chinese automaker Dongeng called the Box, and it didn't like what it saw. During the frontal offset crash, which replicates a car-to-car crash, multiple spot welds in the body structure popped open, and after the impact, the automatic door locking mechanism failed to unlock, which could make it difficult for first responders to get to the people inside. Other issues included a weak steering wheel airbag, which meant the driver's head hit the wheel, and some parts of the dashboard structure posed a safety risk to front occupants' legs. The model also lacks any way to prevent occupant-to-occupant impact between those sitting in the front in the event of a side impact collision. And yet, even with all that, Euro NCAP still gave the Box a 3-star rating, but that was the lowest score of the 18 new vehicles that Euro NCAP tested. And that brings us to the end of today's show. Remember to join us for Autoline After Hours as we dive into all that Gen AI in cars. And we'll be right back here again tomorrow with Autoline Daily.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. CSP, the composites solution partner. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. And thanks to the following YouTube and Patreon members.
Making a life full of memories, one road trip at a time. That's what really matters. Bridgestone Weather Peak tires with a 70,000-mile limited warranty.
Discover more than 300 best-in-class automotive solution providers this fall at Automotive Testing Expo and Automotive Interiors Expo North America. You'll see solutions for data acquisition, durability testing, electric and hybrid powertrain testing, ADAS testing, and more at Automotive Testing Expo. While at Automotive Interiors Expo, you'll see the latest in materials and coatings, smart textiles, ambient lighting, HMIs, and more. Join us from October 21st to 23rd at the Suburban Collection Showplace, Novi, Michigan.
Developing today's vehicles. Issues can happen in an instant. When's the best time to solve a problem? The minute you know you have one. Meet Wireless NeoVi Cloud, your secure, off-the-shelf solution empowering real-time collaboration for quick resolution. With wireless Neovi Cloud, your team can prevent issues before they can escalate. Driver communication data and remote diagnostics to analyze and resolve your problems using OTA, allowing your executives oversight throughout the process. Wireless Neovi Cloud, your vehicle update solution in production and on the road. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.